super stable. What's up everybody, Jameson Redding here with the Road Trip Angler. In this video, I'm gonna be reviewing the Oxbow 85 from NRS. NRS is no stranger when it comes to inflatable rafts and inflatable boats. They've been making them for a long time for both whitewater and fishing. If you follow the channel for a while, you've probably seen my review of the Approach series of boats. I did the 120 and the 138. I'm also going to be reviewing the Boundary 100, which is very similar to the Oxbow, but there's some distinct differences that I think set these two boats apart. Before we jump into all the specs with this boat, I want to quickly just read what NRS has to say about the Oxbow 85 on their website. The portable, versatile Oxbow 85 combines the capability of a pontoon boat with the convenience of a float tube. A sturdy, lightweight rowing frame with full-size oars lets you cover longer distances with more confidence and less fatigue. When you reach your honey hole, you can run the Oxbow as a kick boat for stealth precision. The open bow design allows easy entry and exit for launching, landing, and wading on ponds, lakes, and streams. The package that we're testing is pretty much the standard package. They call it the Raft package. It is $1,745, and what you're gonna get in that package is the boat itself, that repair kit, 2 oars to be able to row the boat, of course all the frame that you need, the seat and the apron to be able to strip that line into when you're fly fishing, and you're also gonna get that track pack that mounts to that slot rail system that is the foundation for the frame itself. In addition to that, you're also gonna get the oar rests that mount on the back where you strap the actual frame to the raft, which are really nice, and you're gonna get that NRS pump so that you can inflate this and be ready to hit the water. Now, some of the additional accessories that you'll see throughout the review are available through NRS, or you can also check out some of the track mounted accessories that YakAttack makes and really make this boat yours, but you get that track pack included in the package deal for that $1,745. So before we get into my experience on the water in the Oxbow 85, I want to jump into the specs really quick. I'm just going to the website here for the specs. The raft itself is 31 pounds. The frame is 14 pounds, so that's a total of 45 pounds. It has a capacity of 450 pounds, which I really think stands out here, and I'll jump into that more when I talk about my own water experience in the boat. The length is 8 feet 5 inches long, which is where the namesake Oxbow 85 comes in. There are 2 air chambers, which is nice if you do get a fish fin puncture or something happens and you get a slow leak in one, you still have a fully inflated chamber. And again, that's a very rare thing that happens with inflatables, but it's a reality and you should always be prepared for it. Throughout the boat, you're gonna find 8 D-rings, which are great for strapping gear down and just being able to rig out the boat the way you want it. One of the unique things that you'll see in this boat that you'll see also in the Boundary and in the Approach series is their slot rail system, which is what makes the frame all connect together, but also allows for mounting a lot of accessories. I'll talk about that more when I get into the features of this boat and the riggability and fishability of this boat. The center compartment, or the part that you're sitting in, is actually 25 inches wide. It comes with a repair kit, and it has a 5-year retail warranty and a 3-year commercial warranty. So if this is a rental boat, it's not gonna carry the same warranty as it would if you were buying it as just an individual that's buying this to go out and fish out of it. The boat is constructed out of a PVC material, which is very common in rafts in general. So your whitewater rafts, your fishing rafts, all mostly are constructed out of this PVC material. And as we go through the features of the boat, you'll notice that there's some areas where they've doubled up that layer of that material and even went to a thicker material just to help prevent wearing in those key points that are gonna come in contact with the frame, but also come in contact with the river bottom. Now that we've covered the specs, I want to jump in to the features that this boat has. And just like I do on every other boat review that I do, I want to just do it from bow to stern really quick. As we start here in the forward part of the boat, the bow, as it would be in most boats, you'll notice that you have these distinct individual tubes up front. But as we move to the back, you'll see that they're connected, because this is kind of a hybrid between that cataract or pontoon style boat, a kick boat, and an actual like fully set up raft with a rigid frame. So it combines a lot of the good things and the good qualities about each one of those individual boats. But you'll see two distinct, different points here on the tubes, and then connecting them together in the middle, you have that foot brace, which is really nice when you're getting after it and you need to cover some distance. Being able to engage your core by having that foot brace on the boat really allows you to get after it on the sticks. You've got 3 different positions to be able to mount that foot brace, so you can move it all the way forward, all the way back. Also, I mentioned that the whole frame's foundation is on that slot rail technology. So you've got tons of adjustment in how you want to set your seat up as it relates to the foot brace that goes across here. So with the 3 positions here, you also have almost infinite adjustability in the seating system to dial in how much you want your weight to be forward or aft and how much gear you're going to be taking on the back of the boat. You'll see a couple more D-rings on the side with a strap here going to the frame itself, and that really just ties everything together nicely, so you have a lot less flex in the boat if you are running a little bit more aggressive whitewater. Now, primarily the boat is designed for, I would say, mild whitewater to flat water, and we'll get into who this boat is for at the end of the review, but that just ties everything together a bit better since you do have this open style front here. One of the things about this open style in the front is that you can step in and out of this boat very easily. So if you are doing some wading or you're getting in and out of the boat while you're out on the water, it makes it very easy to do so. As we move back, one of the cool things that I found very useful on this trip, where we've been testing these boats out, is that you have this apron here that catches your fly line. So when you're stripping, you can strip right into the apron. And you may look at this and think, well, if I'm in moving water, that's an entrapment. But they've actually thought about this very well. And by simply just pulling on this, you can see that these little D-rings here are made to release if you get yourself in a sticky situation, but they're tough enough to hold while you're out on the water, and you can strip your fly line right into this area. You can also remove this very quickly if you don't want it. Let's say you're doing some conventional fishing, which we have done on the trips while we were testing these boats out. You can also move this out of the way and just keep this whole area very open and stow that in the back of the boat. With that apron removed and slung over the side, you can see what the seat system looks like. You have a nice metal frame here that is connected to that slot rail with a metal piece that is your seating area, and then you have some EVA padding on top to give you a little more comfort and cushion for when you're spending a full day on the water. Then you've also got a nice backrest, and the backrest is arched, so you do have some lumbar support, and you can adjust how tight or loose you want that with straps on either side. You also attach that apron to the seat frame, and again, it has buckles so you can release it, and those are quick release as well if you get yourself into any kind of moving water situation where you don't want to have an entrapment if you was to roll the boat upside down. One of my favorite features on this boat and a lot of other boats that NRS makes is actually that slot rail system that is the foundation for their framework. You'll see that not only does it allow for you to adjust things like where the oars are and where the seat is, but it also gives you the ability to add a lot of accessories, especially ones that are already out there on the market from companies like YakAttack. And NRS actually partnered with YakAttack to make this track pack setup. And what's nice about this is it's a quick and easy way to stow some gear while you're out on the water, but you can remove it very quickly when you get off the water and put it in your vehicle. So just having that ability to add those extra accessories like cup holders, the track pack, which actually comes in this package, and other things like camera mounts, which we used, and rod holders and net holders. And we'll go through some of those accessories that are available, but to be clear, in this boat, in the package that you get, you actually will get one of the track packs with it. While we're in this area, I want to also talk about how the oars are attached. Again, the oar locks and the whole oar system as part of the frame is adjustable on that slot rail, but you've got these mini atomic oar locks that were designed specifically for this boat and this style of boat, along with the oar sleeves that were designed for this boat. And you really can get after it with these. I mean, they're locked in, and we were able to move this boat very quickly across the water. The oars that come with the boat have an aluminum shaft and a nylon blade, so they're super durable. lightweight, and they're very rigid, which is important when you're talking about efficiency. And I think that's one of the areas that this boat shines. Because of that really rigid frame that it has, you're able to maximize that efficiency when you're out on the water, and you don't lose a lot of that when you're actually rowing. You don't have the flex of the hull coming into play because everything is rigid on that track system. As we move into the back of the boat, or the stern of the boat, one of the big features here is this mesh and welded floor pan that you have in the back here. It makes it really easy to bring that gear with you on the water, some bags, and you could really even get an overnight's worth of gear in the back of this boat, especially if you pack light like you would if you were backpacking. But I found it very nice to be able to take some of the stuff that I use kayak fishing. Actually, back here, you'll see it in when I'm fishing out of the other boat, the Boundary, which has a very similar floor in the back, that I bring my full black pack with all my tackle in it from YakAttack. So it's just awesome to be able to bring pretty much everything you want for a full day on the water, and even potentially do some overnightting out of a boat this size. Again, there's a few accessories mounted here to the track system that don't necessarily come with the boat, and we're gonna go over what comes in this package, what you get, how much it costs here in a minute. But I just wanted to be able to show you how easy you can mount different accessories to manage your rods, to manage your net, and just to manage your gear throughout the boat. One of the other really cool things that comes with this boat is the oar rest. So when you're actually out there fishing, if you are using it as a kick boat style and you have those fins on, you can actually lock those oars in to these rests on both sides. It keeps them a little bit more tucked in and out of the way for when you're making those casts. They're not swinging loosely in the current or just swinging loosely in general. So I found that very helpful for when I was on the water, to be able to lock those in, use my feet to maneuver the boat a bit, and hold position where I needed to be to make those casts. You'll also see this is where the valves are on the back to inflate those two chambers, and you've got some D-rings and even an attachment point in the bottom of this floor pan to be able to strap gear and things to the back of the boat. You'll also notice that the boat is solid back here. So while the bow has that very catamaran pontoon style to it, back here you have a more standard raft style going on. So it's more like a float tube or a standard raft, which gives you more efficiency when you're actually rowing the boat. And it also just handles the water a bit better. And finally, on the stern of the boat, you have a handle so that you can load and maneuver the boat well, and also another D-ring, so if you need to attach a strap to it for loading, unloading, or just dragging the boat somewhere, you can do that. I mentioned in the specs that some of the areas of the boat actually had a double layer of that PVC material just to make it a bit more durable, and you can see here that the frame sets on a pad of that material here, and then on the bottom also that double layer goes the entire length of both sides of the boat, just to make it more durable when it comes in contact with the bottom of whatever waterway you're fishing, or when you're dragging it up and getting to shore with it. And also where that frame might have any kind of movement or whatever, it just is another wear point that's more protected on the boat with that extra layer of that PVC material. Now I want to jump into the categories that I put really every boat that I test through, and the first one is always speed. You want to be able to get to your spot very quickly and efficiently when you're out on the water, and not spend a lot of time rowing or paddling or even motoring to do so. But you also have to take into consideration what the boat is designed for. And I think for what this boat's designed for, it's probably going to be one of the fastest in its class, due to the fact that it has this very rigid frame. You lose no efficiency when you're rowing the boat. And that is because the frame is all metal, right? It's got that foundation of that slot rail system. It's connected together with the tubes that hold the seat on. So you're transferring all of that energy when you're rowing. You don't lose any of that efficiency with an oar mount that's actually connected directly to the PVC material of the raft, which would flex and give. It's designed to do so, but you lose so much efficiency when you're on the water. I also think that because it is a hybrid of that pontoon style and that raft style, you're really getting the best of both worlds. You're going to maintain a lot of that speed and efficiency when you're moving through the water. The oars move the boat very effectively. Being able to drop your feet and kick the boat when you're fishing in calm water or when you get to your spot work really well. I was impressed with how fast the boat actually is able to go with these oars. I mean, you can get after it, and I didn't think a boat this short would be able to be that efficient on the water. The next thing I want to jump into is maneuverability. This boat is 8.5 feet long. I didn't think it would be as fast as it was, being 8.5 feet long, but it definitely lives up to a shorter boat when you're talking about maneuverability. You can easily spin this boat in its own circle, you know, in the length of the boat. You got 8.5 feet, you can turn the boat around. I mean, it's that simple. Oars really allow you to do that, but also having the ability to put your feet in the water and kick fin, or even without kick fins, I was able to spin the boat with my feet because inflatables are very light. They sit on the surface of the water. They don't sit in the water like a fiberglass boat or a metal boat would. They sit very high and light on the water. So maneuvering this in tight spaces is really what it's designed for. And that goes for both on the water and off the water. You can throw this in the bed of a pickup truck. You could probably fit it in the bed of an SUV or in the back of an SUV. And of course you can deflate it and really fit it in any vehicle that you would ever want to. But being able to maneuver this both on and off the water, plus the weight of it, I can pick the whole boat up over my head and throw it on top of my truck, no problem. Maneuverability is really where this boat shines the most. Let's jump into stability. Now, I'm not saying you should do this, but when I launched this boat, and I'm gonna call it its sister boat, the Boundary 100, I can actually stand on that metal frame where the seat is and feel rock solid stable. And this is actually where most inflatables really shine. Again, they sit on top of the water. You've almost got a pontoon style or catamaran style hull with this. So it's very rock solid stable. Most of the time you're gonna be sitting, obviously you're not climbing up in the seat to fish, but you could, it's that stable. Now I haven't had the opportunity, in full disclosure, to take this down really any moving water. Most of this trip I've been testing both this boat and the Boundary on flat water. However, I'm leaning on my knowledge of moving water, being a kayak angler for many years and working on the designs of several boats that were, you know, designed to be in moving and mild whitewater. I know this boat's gonna handle whitewater no problem. Now, I'm not talking class 3 whitewater, but you could get into some swifter moving mild whitewater, no problem this boat, and feel very, very comfortable. But on flat water where we were using it, rock solid, never felt tippy at all. I literally stepped off the dock onto the seat to get into the boat. Let's jump into durability. I think that especially people that are just not familiar with inflatable watercraft think that they're probably not going to be durable, mostly because we're fishing, right? We have fish hooks, we have pliers, we have knives. Honestly, those have never been an issue. I have not once put a fish hook through any of my inflatable boats, and I've been fishing out of inflatable watercraft for many, many years now. The only time that I've ever seen any issues with inflatable boats is typically when you're catching something like a small panfish, a bluegill, or a fish that just has really sharp, pointy fins that are like needles. It could puncture the boat. However, that is a very, very slow leak and usually not even a problem that day, and it's very easy to repair, especially with the fact that you have that repair kit. Again, if you just manage that and you use a net to land your fish instead of just slapping them into the side of the boat, you really mitigate all that, and it's been a very long time since I've ever had an issue like that on any inflatable. But this is a very thick PVC material, and again, they did double up that layer in those key wear points where you're gonna be dragging the boat and where that frame meets the boat itself. So this is gonna be a boat that lasts you for a very long time. If it wasn't gonna last you for a long time, they wouldn't have a 5-year warranty on it. So when it comes to durability, I think that this is right up there with any of the other rafts like the Approach 138 or 120 that I've tested. Very durable, very confident on just about any body of water with this boat as far as it holding up to what I'm gonna throw at it. The next thing I wanna jump into is comfort. I really like this seat frame. The backrest is very comfortable. The lumbar is where it's supposed to be. It's in my lower back, and it has a mesh back which allows for the airflow, so it's not as hot. I like wearing high back PFDs that have that mesh back as well, so it keeps that airflow kind of perfect and allows it to be very comfortable on the water. Now, this is one thing I will say that I think could be better on the boat, is on that metal bottom, the actual seat part where your butt touches the boat, it has an EVA pad, which is pretty soft when you start out the day. But I spent over 8 hours a day in this boat, and I really feel like that area of the boat could use a little bit of an upgrade. Maybe a thicker EVA pad or even just an aftermarket cushion could be added to the boat that you could purchase separately. If you're going to be spending long days in the water and sitting, you could add a little bit of comfort there. But I really do like everything else about it as far as comfort goes. I felt very stable in the boat. Also, I really like that you can fully adjust the seating position and the oars, which allows you to dial it in for your arm length and your inseam when it comes to dialing in that foot brace. You really have infinite adjustability when it comes to how you want to dial this in for your body's shape and size. Now let's talk about fishability. I know that's not a word, but I use it in every review because I think it should be a word. If you're buying a fishing watercraft, it should be fishy, right? You should be able to fish out of it very well. So fishability just seems like the right word for this category. And I think with the addition of the tracks on the side that are that foundation for the frame, being able to add all those accessories, I think makes it very, very fishy. Also, I like the fact that it has this apron, so if you are stripping that fly line into your lap, it's not getting between your legs, it's not going into the water, especially if you have current, it's not flowing away from the boat. You're able to keep that contained and be able to make accurate, fast casts without having to worry about all that extra line that might be around in the water. Also, the fact that it's very maneuverable and that it's open in the front, you're able to actually land a fish right there in front of you and not have to bring it over the sides. It's a very fishy boat. The other thing I like is that it has this solid bottom in the back, this mesh PVC bottom that I can throw gear back there, but water is going to drain out of it. And honestly, on all the water that we were on the last couple of days, I had no water really retaining in that area at all. It drains right out, it's able to breathe, and I can bring a lot of gear when it comes to stuff I want to take on the water. And this is key, especially if you are a conventional angler. I mean, I'm taking 5-6 rods out there on the water and tons of tackle. Leading into the rigging portion of this, which also does overlap with the fishability of the boat, I just want to say that between this boat, the Approach series, really all the rafts that I've tested from NRS, the rigging is top notch. It's quality rigging, the frame is solid, it doesn't flex at all the hardware is really nice, it's included, and again, you have that adjustability. But one of the big things, and I know I'm kind of saying this over and over again, is that slot rail system. I come from a kayak fishing background where all of our accessories are mounted on gear track. So being able to take a lot of those accessories from that space and quickly integrate it into this space has been awesome. Even if I'm only fly fishing and taking 1 or 2 rods on the water, having a place for my net to lock in, having a place for my rods to lock in, having that track pack and being able to add to that and mount a few cameras without having to think about how I'm gonna do that and just add them to that rail system, that track system, super awesome. So when it comes to rigging on this boat, top notch, and I really like that I can accessorize it the way I want. The next category I want to talk about is value. At $1,745, it's quite a bit of money, right? And so does the boat actually justify that price point? And I think it does. And the reason that I do think that is because a lot of other boats that I would put in this category, this style of boat that is somewhere between a kick boat and a raft really, it has a fully adjustable rigid frame. So number one, you're not losing any efficiency when you're out there rowing. It rows like a big frame boat would row, but it's a smaller boat. So it's very easy to move on the water. It's very fast to move on the water, but you also have that infinite adjustability of setting up everything perfect to fit your leg length, your arm length, where you want the weight to be distributed throughout the boat. If you're bringing a bunch of gear in the stern, you can move the seat forward and really dial in how this boat sits on the water. And that really sets it apart from any other boat in its class. Honestly, it's almost in a class of its own when you really look at what's out there. In addition to that, that slot rail just adds to the value because you can add accessories. I come from kayak fishing and I have a lot of fishing accessories that mount to a track system. Well, now I can take all those accessories and I can add them to this boat just as quick and easily, and I can remove them really quick and easily for when I'm storing the boat or transporting the boat. So I just think that the value is there when you really take into consideration that this boat stands out with all of its rigging options, all of its flexibility, I would say, when it comes to just how you have it set up and how efficient it is because of that frame. The last thing I want to touch on when it comes to every boat that I test is who it's for, because let's be honest, not every boat is for every person or every body of water or even every type of fishing. And I think on this particular trip where I tested this boat and another boat in a similar category called the Boundary 100, be sure to check that review out on the channel as well. I wanted to figure out, okay, why would I buy this one versus another boat in a similar class like that Boundary?
I think if you want ultimate accessibility, you're gonna go with the Oxbow. It's just gonna pivot that much easier because it's shorter, and you're gonna have the ability to hop in and out in the front there. If you're looking for a little more stability, you go with the Boundary. It's pretty straightforward.
I think where this boat really fits in is if you're primarily fishing smaller bodies of water that are flat, like smaller ponds, smaller lakes, especially if you need the versatility of being able to load this by yourself very easily in the back of a truck and an SUV, or you're limited on storage and you occasionally go to that moving water and fish those smaller creeks, those streams that might have some mild whitewater. Well, this might be the boat for you. It's very versatile. I would say it leans a little more flat water than moving water than, say, a boat like the Boundary. Again, we're going to be doing a full review of that boat and we'll talk about where that one sets up. But I think when you're looking at those two, this one's going to be leaning a little more flat water and that one would lean a little more moving water. So if you're looking for a lightweight boat that you can easily move around, even with some kick fins or with your feet, be able to get in and out of it very easily, rig it up for fishing and be efficient with those oars and have the ability to break it down or load it by yourself, the Oxbow 85 might be the boat for you. If you like this video and you have any questions or comments, please drop them below and also subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching.